back and joined now by Jeff Berlin. How are you today, Jeff?
I'm very well. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing
Thanks for
great.
following me up about this.
I know you're out there building a beautiful tribute to our beloved Jack Bruce, and we can't wait to talk about that. But if we could go back a little bit and bring us forward. I know you started playing instruments at an early age. I guess it was violin at 10. Was that your first instrument?
I was a violinist at 5. I started very early. Right from the very first lesson, it was a reading experience, you know, at a 5-year-old level, and read music and played till I was 16. I got a bass at 13 or 14. I'm trying to remember. About 14, I think it was. And heard my dear late friend Jack Bruce and was amazed by what he did, and he helped to put me on the road that I'm on. I mean, he was the first, I would call him, bass virtuoso in history, and even to this day, his bass playing, his music is essential listening to me.
Yeah, take us back to that earliest moment. Obviously, you're playing the violin. You grew up, obviously, in a musical family that encouraged creativity, and you started hearing Cream. You know, what was it in the bass of Jack's that really spoke to you?
I kind of akin it to a DNA explosion, because when I heard the Beatles, I was, enamored. I was a fan from the first, and when I heard Cream and heard the first couple of records, I really loved it. But when I heard Wheels of Fire, I lost my mind. And when I heard the live playing and heard the tone of Ginger Baker's drums and the excitement of Jack's bass playing, I was transformed. And I call it a DNA experience because someone else, well, no, you know what? 35 million people agree with me because they sold that many records. I mean, Cream sold 35 million records and sold it to people that at that particular time were excited to hear guys play, not really sing or do arrangements. I mean, Jack named it correctly. They were a jazz group, but they just never told Eric.
Yeah, I remember when Sunshine of Your Love came out, it was just everywhere, inescapable. But obviously you went way deeper than that, but Jack was a lead vocalist. He was so much more than just a bass player. I mean, it was a triple threat.
So much more. A multi-instrumentalist, an original a bassist, an original sounding bassist with a vision, a composer. He is a singer singing what I have coined a phrase, I think. It's called Scottish soul. And I coined that phrase related specifically and only to Jack. I mean, he had a thing, and the live Cream records, and then followed it with Goodbye Cream, and then followed that with Live Cream. And when I heard those records, culminating with Sweet Wine on the Live Cream record, my mind was mush. I had lost my mind in awe of what I had heard. And it came out of the DNA excitement of hearing great inner playing. And that's what I think all Cream fans were excited about. So the young Cream clearly played better than the later version of it.
Sure.
It was the young Cream that just went, to hell with restraint. Let's just do it, and that suited me perfectly. And it got me to love Jack to this very day.
Now, obviously, when the Beatles stormed the world, and then Cream, did what they did. I mean, did you put the violin down at that point? Was it full blown bass at that time?
Yes, I couldn't realize a feeling through violin playing anymore, where I could through bass playing, because violin, the classical repertoire and playing of that instrument didn't touch my heart anymore. The bass guitar did, and I was a dedicated bass player from that point on. It was about 14. I continued playing violin for a couple of more years, but my heart wasn't in it, and finally I stopped it completely and became a full-time lover of bass.
Sure.
And a lover of Cream, and subsequently a lover of Jack Bruce solo music. I was a fan, a committed fan all my life to what Jack had created and played.
Well, Jack had left us with so much music. I know he had collaborated with Robin Trower on a few albums, and just had such a catalog. So much treasure. Tell us about meeting Jack and the friendship that grew from that.
Well, John Heisman, one of England's greatest drummers. I met him in America and subsequently kept a friendship in England. And I'm a great admirer of John Heisman. I think he's a very, very, very great drummer that comes from England. Deserves way more credit than he may have gotten. And he played with Jack and on several of Jack's records and live gigs as well. And I was at Ronnie Scott's and met up with John and told him what a fan of Jack's I am. And he said, "You want to meet him?" And I went, "Well, you're darn right." I was 26 or 27. I think I was in England playing or recording with Bill Bruford. I turned into a jittery child, excited to meet Jack. And I think the next weekend he came by, said hello to me, and I tried to control myself. It was all I could do to not act like a fan. "Oh, boy, Jack Bruce, I remember when you played this and that." And I was just very respectful and told him what I felt. And a friendship ensued. We became friends from that point. We had played together. We never recorded together, where I played guitar in a group with him and Bruce Gary, who was the drummer from the Knack. And we had done a very small amount of gigs. And I knew his music by heart, so I could just pick up a guitar and play it. So we just played, and it was fun. And he liked that I could, at that time, imitate Jerry Lewis. And we would do White Room, and then on the bridge, I would sing, the bridge, "Way in this place where the sun never shines." And I do it in Jerry's voice. And Jack was a real cut-up. He really got a kick out of the humor end of our friendship. So knowing Jack and playing with him was a great, great, exciting thing for me. Great. I mean, just a great guy. He'd come and play and call me up and tell me he'd be at Ruth Eckerd Hall in Florida, and I'd come and hang, or we just hung a lot. I mean, he was just a great guy, and I admired his spirit as a human being as well as his great musicality.
Well, it's amazing. I know that you have created this concept for a tribute album, and you're out there with Pledge Music. Tell us, what was the impetus? What was the seed that said, "I've got to, do something more than just enjoy Jack's music"?
Well, when Jack and I had always talked about recording together, we got to the place, "Let's go do it." "Sure, let's do it." And we never did it. And time waits for no one, as everyone knows. And when he passed away, I was deeply hurt by that. I mean, deeply hurt. It took me a while to recover from that. I'm not sure I have, actually. And I said I have to record a record covering his music and not put a great emphasis on Cream, because Cream was, this is a Jack Bruce retrospective. It's not a Cream retrospective. I didn't want to cover all the songs of Cream. Each other.
Well, you were just starting to talk about that this is a Jack tribute, not just a Cream tribute.
Okay, I'll go from there. Is
sure.
that cool?
You ready to go?
This is a Jack tribute, not a Cream tribute. It's my vision is to represent the career of the man in as much as I could extract certain songs that I feel were his best songs before Cream, during Cream, and after Cream. And this record ought to appeal to any Jack Bruce fan, in as much as that I've taken his music and slightly altered some of it, arranged a little bit, tried different things, because I didn't want to do a cover record. I kind of am of the opinion that the originals are usually better than whatever most people cover. So a cover thing didn't emotionally hit with me, but a redo, and possibly with other instrumentation, other approaches from other guest artists that I have invited to play, this is the way to go. So I believe in this project, and I haven't recorded a note yet. What I have done is I've done all the demos. I've done all the demos in my house, so I know it's going to come. And I must say that I'm more excited about this project than I think I've been about any recording project I've ever done. And where I may be a little silly here, but nonetheless have this belief, there are a million, if not millions, of music appreciators, diverse musical tastes, that if the internet, and we could reach a great portion of them, I thought, why can't this record be a platinum-selling record? Because people have cataloged fusion, which this record is not. It's a vocal rock record with flavors of jazz and other type of harmony. I thought this could be a worldwide phenomenon if people that love music as much as I do would be inspired and excited to pre-order a CD and do it into the tens, if not hundreds of thousands. And this is the fantasy that I have, so that everybody can share this music, because it's a labor of love for me. And so I have gotten very excited, believing if I could reach a lot of people might, just on the merit of my rep or the music of Jack, his reputation, anticipate a great project and want to pre-purchase and get this music when it's done and enjoy it.
Well, there's no question that, music is so powerful, and you've got a great idea in your head to share that. I was at Bass Player Live here in Hollywood last year, and they did a great Jack Bruce tribute, and, there can't be enough said about the man and sharing of his music, because like you say, there's probably a younger generation. They would love the music if they heard it. They just don't know who he is or not enough about him. Talk about your wish list of who you would like to have on this recording.
Well, I've gotten some of my wish list already. I got Ginger Baker said he would play a couple of tracks. I'm going to dole out responsibilities. I was hoping for a house drummer. The closest I got to it was the very, very, very exciting Chad Smith. He plays with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but I heard him play in big bands, and I know the guy can play, beyond the scope of Chili Pepper repertoire, and he's going to play on it. I got Paul Schaefer from the David Letterman, the leader of the David Letterman group, because Paul, I knew him in the old days before Letterman, and he was a very, very experienced and musical organ player. A lot of Jack's music has organ on it. I want to have some of Paul's capable playing in order to represent those parts. What else? I actually have a guest guitarist, but I'm not allowed to mention him until he confirms his appearance. But I'm going to use good sidemen. I'm going to use piano. I want synth. I want harp. I have a couple of uses for harp. I don't mean harmonica. I mean the harp. On a couple of the ballads. I have vocal chorus parts that I've written. I have horn parts that I've written. So the guest list will grow, is growing. I'm in touch with Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, because Billy is a blues guitarist, and he's interested in doing this, and we'll see if he'll do it. He has a new record coming out, so he's focusing on that. But who knows? I mean, I've always loved his tone. I thought he's one of the best American blues guitarists around.
Sure. And
I want the best guys. So there you go. That's it. I based this record, and I'm looking for great vocalists. I mean, I'm thinking of, I don't know who yet. I don't even want to mention. There's several really beautiful vocalists, because Jack was a stellar singer. So who do we get?
Yeah.
So there's guys I'm thinking of, but that'll probably come later. It's more the idea that the record will represent my vision of music, and hopefully put a smile on the face of Jack if he's able to hear what will have transpired.
Well, I'm sure as the word gets out, more and more people, if they can, will want to be a part of it. And I know you're calling this Songs for a Whaler. Why that title? Because
Jack's first solo record was a beautiful album by him called Songs for a Tailor. And any Jack Bruce fan will remember that CD. That LP. And Songs for a Tailor. He wrote his first CD. first record. So I like puns. I always have. I like funny little things, little changes in terms. So I thought he was a whaling player. He was a whaling singer. So I thought I would call this Songs for a Whaler.
Well, as music moves forward, the business is constantly evolving. Of course, technology is hopefully helping. It's not always the friend of the creative, people, but, we hope that the younger generation is inspired by not only what you're doing for Jack, but if you're familiar, of course, Robert Trujillo from Metallica has made this Jaco Pastorius documentary, which is an amazing film, and of course you played with Bill Bruford, and so much of that 70s music is being revered. Why is it important for the younger generation to go back and study the greats and grow some roots and really know where they came from?
Well, for the same reason that it was important for us when we began. I began in the 60s and subsequently continued my studies into the 70s, even as I played. It was important for us to know what preceded us, to know what might follow us. Mentioning Jaco, he was a student of the great R&B and Atlantic Records and Stax and soul music, and became deeply involved in listening to the bass players and the bands that preceded his entry into music. So what young players ought to remember is that they have something to build on. The music today that I've noticed isn't very instrument friendly. It's not an era where players of real quality are as important as, say, the song or the singer or the rapper or the dancer. And because of that, a lot of young players don't have a lot to rely on in order to listen to, emulate, and grow from. So what the best thing to do is to go back to the times when playing was king, when players were revered. I have a theory that Jimi Hendrix is on the cover of every guitar magazine once every single year because the music industry isn't allowing a new Hendrix to appear. It isn't a friendly time for players, and so a lot of the older players have to be recycled. So I invite players, if that may be true, I don't know, it's just a theory of mine, to invite players to go back and listen to the older guys and find out where it all started and where it all evolved from. That's what all great players do. It's an automatic rite of passage where one listens to a guy, imitates him, listens to other people, and a style and an approach develops from this. So young players don't have a lot to rely on today. So I invite them not only to use, the guys that are around today, but the guys that came before. And if they do that, they're going to be astonished at what they're going to hear and astonished at what might inspire them to do even better things as bass players or drummers or guitarists.
Sure. Well, I know you've certainly touched a lot of your contemporaries, and, we got to mention that people like Geddy Lee has called you the greatest bass player on the planet, and Marcus Miller said he wanted to be a black Jeff Berlin. What does it mean to hear those, accolades coming from people that you respect and admire?
It's an honor. I'm grateful to have provided something because if you really want to get right down to it, I'm a small guy in a large pond. I didn't go the way of the big band, the big buck, and stuck sort of more to the credo of high musical, high musical involvement. I wished to be the best player I could be. I wished to provide the best music I could, which did not satisfy the commercial interest that most players and people have had. So when I hear that Geddy and Marcus and Jaco and all these guys said things about me, for me, it's an honor, man. It's just an honor to be recognized by my peers. I'm deeply grateful. And ironically, these days, my stock is going up all the time. So I was wondering what happened. I mean, more people take notice of me. People are becoming more fans, young kids too. And I couldn't figure out how that happened. But let me tell you what, I'm deeply grateful. I'm astonished, but I'm grateful.
Amazing stuff. Well, we are going to post the link to the Pledge Music Drive and encourage everyone that loves Jack Bruce and loves great, artistry and music to come and participate and help make your dream come true. And Jeff, it's been a supreme pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to beat the drum and get the word out for Jack and all the great players to come. We really appreciate everything you've done with your School of Music down there in Florida and everything you've done to help continue and build great musicians.
It's my pleasure, and thank you very much for having a chat with me today. I'm glad to get the word out about this Jack Bruce CD, very much so.
Thank you so much, Jeff. We'll be in touch. I'll send you some links, and we'll go from there. Anything else we can do to help, we're there for you.
Very cool, Jay. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Take care.